Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map, and this is going to be hot takes for July. So we're going to be talking about decks, books, and just side interests of mine and what I did and what I was into. So let's just get straight into it. Okay, let's start with decks. So I have had a couple of new purchases, new incomers into my collection, and that doesn't happen too often these days. I'm actually quite selective about getting decks. I don't really feel like getting more decks. I have a lot of decks, okay? All these cupboards are full of decks, and you can see this in one of my videos. I show them around. But what did I get? I did get the Mr. Gogus deck by Josephine McCarthy, and that was prompted by her interview with Natalia on Tarot Shrink. And the deck is very kind of similar to Queira Magician deck. It comes with the big book, and I had it for maybe a week, so I keep pulling cards, you know, and checking out like how it works. I do love her previous deck, and I kind of am used to it. So yeah, I have to figure out what my connection to this particular deck is. This is for solitary magicians practitioners, and I show you a couple of cards just so you know. And it's kind of primal, as you can see. The artwork varies between abstract, like this one for example, to a little bit more concrete art. It's quite shamanic. It reminds a little bit of the artwork of Cilla Conway, but it has a different feel to it. And yeah, Josephine painted this one herself compared to the other deck, which she hasn't. Some of the cards are amazing. I did have an interesting pull. I keep checking how this deck works, you know, practically. So my first pull was something about the storm. I can't remember the cards now, I have it written down, but two cards that came up were about the storm and like danger around storm and the element of air and, you know, wind. And that same night, at about 1 a.m. because my husband came home after midnight and I was waiting for him, and the day was beautiful, like there was no kind of signs of storm, and then we had this huge storm. I recorded some of it, maybe I link it here. For you to watch. So these cards kind of, I feel they connected to natural elements, and yeah, you know, the jury is still out, but I actually really appreciate what Josephine does, and her decks are like the real deal, okay? The other one that I got a couple of weeks ago now, it's the Wild Alchemy Lab. It's a deck that you can get, you know, anywhere. It's mass-produced. I love it. It has beautiful illustrations, more like this on the vintagey end of plants and different, I can't find lady's mantle around me, and this is my plant for the year, and I keep drinking it, doing, you know, work with it, but I can't find it in nature, and I'm looking for it everywhere, but it just doesn't grow where I am. So disappointing. So yeah, this deck has writing at the back of the cards. It also comes with a little book, but it's combination of elements, astrological information, as you can see, and herbalism. And on the back you get like practical advice of what you can do. So there's different things for flower essences, for teas, for spagyrics and so on. So all these different alchemical potions and so on that you can make from these plants. So this is the Wild Alchemy Lab deck, mass-produced. Another one which is mass-produced and I loved was the Magical Botanical Oracle. You know, the mass-produced decks get like, they really nice now. And they of course cheaper than indie decks, but I love this artwork as well. It's so beautiful. It's by Maxine Miller and Christopher Penchak, and yeah, it's just really gorgeous artwork. So this is a cool deck. It comes with quite a hefty book with some magical application of the plants, this one. So Christopher Penchak has written a lot about magical side of plants. So if you're familiar with his work, you can, kind of, what to expect. I played with deck for wonder walking a lot. It's really sweet. And, I have a couple of videos with this deck. I know that Amy just ran a successful Kickstarter for the journal, like Explorer's Journal, and this deck and the journal, they really great addition to any collection. Oh, my shop is coming. I have to stop, guys. I'll be back. I need to go and get something, and I'm in the country where the shop travels around through the village and you can buy some stuff. See you soon. Okay, shopping done. Let's move on. So I have been playing with the Lemurian Star Child Oracle, the small version, because it's cute. What can I say? It's cute. I just watched The Witcher, and there was this huge unicorn in the last episode, but you can see the review of this deck on my channel, of course, so it's there. I also have affiliate link for this deck, so if you want to support buying this deck and support me as well, you can get it through my link. Real Astrology Tarot by Julie Kuchia-Watts. This really belongs to one of my fave decks recently. It's so great, and because I'm doing the spiral astrology readings, I always use her deck and Carney's deck with realms to illustrate your reading. So these new readings have a lot of artwork. They have constellational artwork, they have ancient Egyptian art, mixes of things. I feel like this reading is really great because it's so visual. Another deck that came back, I've had it for years, it's Patrick's deck, Living Will astrology deck, and I'm using it actually as a map of the sky, real sky, what's happening when it comes to constellations and where the planets are. So not necessary, it doesn't necessarily agree with tropical astrology, because as we know, tropical astrology separated the sky in 12 30 degrees segments, and we can call them like season of Taurus, season of Gemini, season of Cancer, and so on. So right now we moved into the season of Leo, right? But the sun is actually moving or passing through the constellation of Cancer right now. So it's the season of Leo in tropical system, but when you want to be connected to the stars, and if you look where the sun actually is in heavens, it is passing through the constellation of Cancer. The constellations also are not the same size, okay? So this true sidereal astrology, the system is different to what we are used to with Western astrology, and unfortunately Western astrology is not backing up what's happening in the real sky due to the lack of including precession into their calculations, or by choice of not including it. So basically it just follows the seasons, and the new year always starts with spring equinox, which is fixed to Aries constellation, but Aries or Aries sign, Aries season, because it's not Aries constellation that's actually rising on the eastern horizon on spring equinox. I am going to do more videos about it, because I keep checking and comparing. You know me, I'm not just jumping full in without really putting in the work of rechecking things. For this particular work, I need time, I need to observe things, I need to see how things work in my life. I'm 100% sure the tropical system works really well when it comes to transits, because when we go through seasons, when the sun goes through seasons, we see it on Earth, it affects us. But if we cut off from the stars, we're really missing a huge chunk of our potential, I feel. So this tropical astrology readings are great to see what's happening on Earth, where are we in our cycles, but the connection to the stars opens us up to like really another layer of who we are and what we are here to develop. Which is funny enough that Rockpool sent me 2 decks, 2 advanced copies that are going to be published very soon. So one is Oracle of the Universe, which I thought would be interesting to check out. It's by Stacey DeMarco. She's a fellow Australian, and I say fellow because I have Australian citizenship and I used to live in Australia for nearly 10 years. So this is the deck that they will be putting out. It has constellations and fixed stars and nebulas in the deck. So the artwork is not my favorite artwork. I'm not really a fan of this type of realistic art, but the decks are published really nicely. You know, you have edging, and the cards are smaller. In general, the decks look more like, you know, they're a bit bigger than tarot, the regular tarot card. But anyway, I'm going to do a proper review of these 2 decks. So again, this artwork, not my favorite bit, but I'm curious about the constellation and the subject. So I thought like it would be interesting to take a look at this deck. And it comes of course with a little white book. So I'm going to check it out. I'm just showing it to you as the new edition. And another one that they sent is the Witching Hour Oracle. It's kind of cute, more on the sweet side of things, because the artwork is, you know, colorful, it's beautiful, it's inclusive, it's, I think it's really sweet and quite beautiful, but it's more what it feels to me like a kindergarten witchcraft based on the artwork. It's just, you know, kind of cute, and I think would be cool for kids, but it's nice keywords. I actually appreciate the artwork. You know, everybody will make their own mind about this. I'm just showing it to you. It also is edged, which is kind of cool because it's this bright kind of yellowish green, and it goes with the numbers that are on the cards. Also comes with a booklet, quite a few spreads here, so it's really, I think, for the, I'm not sure what the retail price will be, $24 and £18. I think that's pretty cool. Another couple of decks that I was playing in were Marseille decks. I love this tarot Ambiguities by Alejandro Rozan and published by Artisan Tarot. Really cool. I love the vintage feel of it. It's linen paper. It's really cool. And another one is the Swiss Marseille, which I also keep, you know, pulling out because it has this nice waxed textured paper. And if you feel like a little bit of, again, sweeter approach, cleaner lines, you know, nice faces, then the Swiss Marseille Tarot by Napes Artesanos, they created this cute deck. It's also light, which is kind of nice. So I think let's just stop with decks for now. These are my cards for August. I think based on the cards at least, it feels like quite a powerful month. So I got the Chariotees. I got 2 of Cups from Thoth, which is Venus in Cancer. Well, Venus is actually retrograding right now, but in Leo constellation. I got the Warrior. So we had like Chariot, Warrior, and this Yergon Sacha or Hergon Sacha transfiguration for Mars and Pluto, which is like, looks like a tower card. So I'm interested in poisonous plants right now as well. I have done my first hellebore essence. So hellebore, I planted this hellebore plant outside my house, and it started blooming in the middle of summer, and that's quite untypical because they usually bloom like, you know, December or like later autumn, even throughout winter, March, February, stuff like this. They don't really like sun. So mine is growing from the north face and it doesn't get too much sun. So this essence was created on a gloomy day, just after the storm, and it also called for this beautiful smoky quartz. But at some point, I think, Natalia, if you're watching this, Natalia, you send me this crystal. It has a lot of rainbows in it, and I was actually, while this essence was being created outside, I was having a gathering with Caroline Hillier, because I'm doing her program Braided Rivers, and a lot of sisters were gathering, and we gathered at 9 a.m. just so the sisters from Australia, from across the pond, could join us, because usually they have to miss out because of the time difference. And it was just it was my first kura, first gathering with Caroline and the ladies. It was just so beautiful. We talked a lot about how for people, like especially for people living like really anywhere in the world, because when you think of it, you were either a colonizer or colonized, but specifically when you're in Australia or in Americas, how can people whose ancestors colonized these lands, but they were born there, how can they create a deep connection to the land, and also feel the suffering of people who were misplaced and who suffered so much because of their ancestors. So it was kind of like bittersweet meeting and really beautiful, and I felt like it went well with the hellebore plant, which is a poisonous plant, but yet so beautiful as well. And how can we, as Julie speaks about constellation of Ophiuchus and Scorpio, how can we learn to transmute the poison into something beautiful, and how can we move forward in creating something gorgeous? So right now I'm taking my own, this is the mother essence that I created from the hellebore, and this is my essence, which I added also some chocolate liquor to sweeten up a bit, and some whiskey. So I also created a couple of different things, like this is actually, my mom made this, but this is St. John's wort oil, so I haven't made my own for this year because I don't need more than that. I've made from Immortelle, I've made this, smells good because I added some fennel to it and a little bit of rose. So this is the Saint Immortelle plant, which is great for wrinkles, and it's a really good plant for liver as well. And I also made this huge pot, I don't know why I made it so big, of plantain salve. I keep just gathering herbs and drying herbs, making things, vinegar from Artemisias, like it's still in the making. And yesterday, before the full moon is today, it's actually in the constellation of Capricorn, slash Sag, like it's leaving Sag and moving into Capricorn. I got like this need to make myself a spray, and I pulled some cards from the essential oil deck that I have, and I pulled spikenard and mandarin. It smells so good. Spikenard is a really weird smelling oil. It smells a little bit like old wood, and like it has, I love that smell, but maybe it's not to everybody's taste. But it's a very sacred oil, and I used a couple of drops. I think I used 5 drops for this little bottle, so I can probably add some water to it. A little bit of alcohol, water, and 2 drops of mandarin, 5 drops of spikenard. Smells good. So this is this new full moon kind of vibes coming into me. And books that I am binging on right now. I actually read a novel which is great, but it's called Cydonia, the word has been spoken. Cydonia, słowo się rzekło. It's in Polish, so I'm not going to show it to you because I don't think I get too many Polish viewers. This is another Polish one that I got. It's a herbal book by Marcin Sędkowski, and he's a young guy, but has written a really cool book with a lot of practical advice, and you can see that whatever he's written, it's not like repetition of books he read, but actually things he did, which is great. I have my own little I bought it in Tiger, like it's called plant calendar, but it's not a calendar. I just writing down what I've done from certain plants, and a couple of books that I keep, like learning from. So the book of Herbal Wisdom by Matthew Wood. Some interesting stuff, of course, but not every plant is there that I need. The Gift of Healing Herbs is really beautiful, great book by Robin Rose Bennett. A lot of practical stuff as well. And the Polish one, which is out of print book, really cool, by Ożarowski and Jaroniewski. And it's about the healing plants and the practical stuff. So I think that's it, guys. That's what I wanted to share. Happy full moon. As I said, it's kind of moving into the constellation of Capricorn. So you see and check from Earth perspective. We probably will be also feeling the Aquarius, but when we want to connect to the realm of Capricorn, this realm is the realm of the diamond, and it's a great time for really showing your commitment to things. Diamond needs polishing, so it's really talking also about polishing our characters, choosing the right way to move, to act, to speak, taking responsibility for our evolution. And Capricorn speaks often about inner authority, so reconnecting to our strong core. Capricorn rules our skeletal systems, like our spine, so it's always the connection with healthy boundaries, when to say yes, when to say no, what is your own truth, and really sticking to it. Whereas in Aquarius we have the air element going on, so it might be very futuristic, future-oriented, social and social justice, things that are liberating us as well and bringing new innovations, innovative. So both of these energies somehow, I hope, can be woven into this particular beautiful full moon, and I hope you enjoy it. Bye.